Okay, real talk. You're holding a device that has more computing power than NASA used to send humans to the moon. Like the entire Apollo mission computers combined were less powerful than the phone in your pocket. And you're probably using it to watch cat videos. But how did we get here? How did phones go from bricks you needed 2 hands to carry to sleek slabs that can fold in half? Let's trace the smartphone evolution. It's a wild ride. The story starts in 1973. Motorola engineer Martin Cooper made the first ever cell phone call on a device that weighed 2.5 pounds and cost the equivalent of $15,000 today. The phone was literally called the Brick, and for good reason. It had 30 minutes of battery life and took 10 hours to charge. But it was wireless. That was the revolutionary part. You could walk around while talking. Mind-blowing. The 80s and 90s were the era of the mobile phone becoming somewhat practical. The Motorola StarTAC was the first clamshell phone, and it was a fashion statement. But the real icon was the Nokia 3310, released in 2000. This phone was unbreakable. Dropped it? Fine. Threw it against a wall? Fine. Ran it over with a car? Probably fine. Snake game. Custom ringtones. Changeable covers. The 3310 sold 126 million units and is still legendary today. And you could actually text easily with T9 predictive text. Kids today will never know the struggle of clicking 5 times to type the letter S. Then BlackBerry happened. These phones had physical keyboards and were perfect for email. They were called Crackberry because people were literally addicted. Business professionals, politicians, celebrities, everyone had a BlackBerry with the little scroll wheel and the notification LED. BBM, BlackBerry Messenger, was the original WhatsApp. You had a PIN code instead of a phone number. It was exclusive. If you didn't have BBM, you were basically nobody. But everything changed in 2007. January 9th, 2007. Steve Jobs walks on stage and says Apple is going to reinvent the phone. The original iPhone had a 3.5-inch screen, no keyboard, no stylus. Just a touch screen. People thought it was crazy. How would you type without buttons? How would it survive in your pocket? But when people actually used it, the reaction was universal. This is the future. The iPhone launched a revolution. Every phone before it was a phone with some internet features. Every phone after it was a computer that could make calls. The first iPhone didn't even have 3G. It had a 2-megapixel camera. No video recording. No copy-paste. No app store. But the potential was obvious. The multi-touch interface, the visual voicemail, the web browser that actually worked. It was a preview of what was coming. 2008 brought the App Store and the iPhone 3G. Suddenly your phone could be anything. A flashlight, a guitar tuner, a GPS, a gaming device. The app economy was born. Developers went from coding for desktops to coding for pockets. The gold rush was on. Angry Birds became a worldwide phenomenon. Instagram turned everyone into photographers. Uber changed transportation. The smartphone wasn't just a phone anymore, it was the remote control for your life. Android entered the chat in 2008 too. Google's open-source approach meant dozens of manufacturers could make smartphones. Samsung, HTC, Motorola, LG. The HTC G1 had a slide-out keyboard and was the first real iPhone competitor. The Android versus iPhone war defined the next decade. And honestly, both sides won. Competition drove innovation. Screens got bigger. Cameras got better. Processors got faster. The iPhone 4 in 2010 brought Retina display and the front-facing camera. Suddenly selfies were a thing. FaceTime was born. The iPhone 4 also had that iconic glass and steel design. It was the most beautiful phone ever made. And it introduced Siri, the first mainstream voice assistant. Talking to your phone was no longer weird. Well, it was still a little weird. But we got used to it. Samsung dropped the Galaxy Note in 2011 with a massive 5.3-inch screen. People called it ridiculous. It's too big. It won't fit in pockets. Fast forward to today and 6.7-inch screens are normal. The Note created the phablet category and Samsung became Apple's biggest rival. The Galaxy S series pushed display technology forward with AMOLED screens that made colors pop like nothing else. The 2010s were a golden age of smartphone innovation. Fingerprint scanners became standard. Apple introduced Face ID and removed the home button. Wireless charging meant no more cables. Multiple camera lenses gave us portrait mode and insane zoom capabilities. The Pixel phone showed us what computational photography could do, making average hardware take incredible photos through software magic. And then came the foldables. Samsung Galaxy Fold in 2019. A phone that opens into a tablet. It was expensive, fragile, and the first version literally broke. But the concept was undeniable. Now we have foldables that survive drops, flip phones that fit in tiny pockets, and rollable display concepts. The smartphone form factor is evolving again. Now look at where we are. The iPhone 15 Pro Max has a titanium body, a 48-megapixel camera that shoots ProRAW, an A17 Pro chip that's faster than most laptop CPUs, and can play console-quality games. The Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra has AI features that can translate calls in real time, edit photos by circling objects, and summarize web pages. These aren't phones. These are supercomputers that happen to fit in your pocket. The evolution from 1973 to today is insane. From a 30-minute battery, 10-hour charge time brick to a device that can charge from 0 to full in 20 minutes and last all day. From no screen to edge-to-edge OLED 120Hz displays. From 0G to 5G. From no camera to pro-level photography systems. From Snake to Call of Duty Mobile with console-quality graphics. Android phones pushed boundaries too. The Galaxy S10 had a headphone jack and expandable storage and a beautiful OLED screen. A true all-rounder. Xiaomi and OnePlus offered flagship specs for mid-range prices. Google's Pixel line showed what clean Android with AI features could do: call screening, magic eraser, live translate. The competition at the top end is unbelievable. Every year, every company drops their best phone, and they're all incredible. There are no bad flagship phones anymore. The mid-range market is even more interesting. Phones that cost $300 today have features that flagships didn't have 3 years ago. 120Hz screens, multiple cameras, fast charging. The democratization of technology means a decent smartphone is available to almost everyone on Earth. Over 6 billion people have smartphones. That's 6 billion pocket supercomputers. The camera evolution deserves its own video. The first camera phone in 2000 took 0.11 megapixel photos. Today's iPhone takes 48 megapixel photos with computational photography that adjusts exposure, white balance, and depth in real time. Night mode makes dark photos look like daytime. Portrait mode creates artificial bokeh that looks professional. You can shoot 4K 60 frames per second video with cinematic stabilization. The best camera isn't a DSLR anymore, it's the phone in your pocket. Selfie cameras went from VGA quality garbage to 12 megapixel beautification wonders. The front-facing camera, initially just for video calls, became the most important camera for a generation raised on Instagram and TikTok. The notch, the punch hole, the dynamic island, all solutions to the problem of, how do we put a camera on the front without ruining the screen? And the future? Under-display cameras that are completely invisible. Truly bezel-less phones that are all screen. Satellite connectivity like the iPhone 14's SOS feature, eventually becoming two-way texting anywhere on Earth without cell service. Phones that charge wirelessly from ambient radio waves. Rollable displays that expand from phone size to tablet size on demand. AI assistants powered by large language models that actually understand context and conversation. The smartphone evolution isn't slowing down. If anything, the next 20 years will make today's phones look like the Nokia 3310. Maybe phones themselves will disappear. Smart glasses like Ray-Ban Meta that put a display in your field of view. Smart contact lenses. Neural interfaces like Neuralink that let you control devices with your thoughts. The phone as a physical object might be temporary. What's permanent is the need to communicate, to capture, to create, and to connect. Whatever form that takes, the evolution continues. So next time you get annoyed because your phone loaded a page in 0.5 seconds instead of 0.3, remember, Martin Cooper made the first call on a brick that weighed more than a bag of flour. We've come a long way. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you love tech evolution content. Peace.